What's up, y'all, and welcome to the greatest podcast ever, Above the Rim with Dwight Howard, where we hear no evil, see no evil, and speak no evil. Oh, my God, y'all, we got a crazy show today. Woo! And it's with one of the greatest players. But before we start, I need y'all to hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment to let me know who you want on the show next. My partner to the left, 4L, tell him we got somebody crazy for him today.
Hey, we got a champion from
all parts
of the world, NBA champion, Taiwan champion.
Yes.
What else? Where else is he a champion from?
Life
champion.
Life champ.
Father champion.
He's a champ. He's a champ. Give it up, y'all, for none other than the greatest, Jeremy Lin. So we did have a little gift.
Retirement gift.
A retirement gift for you. Is it in the bag, Brenda? You want one of the bags? So we got you a little retirement gift. Oh, yes, Lord.
Hey, we do got the gift you gave us, though.
We do got to give you
when we were in Taiwan, your team sent us this. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You got the math on them. They got... You got to show the cameras.
I was actually upset about this because they didn't have my size, and I thought that these were some of the best shoes that were made for basketball.
They actually feel really good.
They're comfortable. He used to wear these all the time, and it
actually
elevated his game to another level. I don't know.
It made me smart on the court and off the court.
So in Taiwan, he actually played in a league out there while I was out there playing.
Oh, okay.
Like playing at the YMCA. But it wasn't. No, I said it wrong.
I'm like, damn.
Not the YMCA.
I wasn't that bad.
Was it SBL or something?
It was like a semi.
It was a semi-pro league,
yeah.
So he literally wore your shoes, and they were saying, little Dwight Howard is out here.
Yeah, they put it on the news in Taiwan. They talking about NBA player friends are good too. I was like, what the? They report anything out here.
Oh yeah, they're very curious about all aspects of life.
Everything.
They had an article. We were going to KFC because his other friend loved KFC, and it was like Howard and team loves KFC. Every event we was going to, they were flooding us with KFC. Me and Dwight, we like Popeyes.
And they got a place in Taiwan called Fat Daddy's. Have you ever had it?
I've heard of it. I don't think I've been.
When I tell you, it might be the greatest chicken place ever. It's Popeyes and KFC and any other chicken place combined. It's fire. But, man, how was retirement, man? Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Retirement's great. Just working a lot on the brand side of things and with the foundation, but also just slowing down the schedule, just grinding for 15 years. It's been
it's a long grind.
Yeah, and all the travel and everything that it takes to be a great basketball player. So just being able to eat unhealthy.
Yes, you are absolutely right about that. I just remember having to sacrifice eating the burgers like I want, all the junk food, and just lay in the bed all day and do nothing. We had to that was a big sacrifice, you know what I'm saying? But it turned out amazing for you, I remember actually the first time I was meeting you was when I first got into the NBA. I came out to Taiwan and the Philippines.
Yeah.
And they were like, this guy, he's projected to go to the NBA draft with the Golden State.
Yeah,
Golden State.
Yeah, Golden State.
And it's like, we want you to meet him, y'all talk. And that was a long time ago, and it seemed like it went by like that. That had been 2005 or 6.
Yeah, that was 15, 20 years ago.
Damn.
I still remember. It was like you came down the elevator, and then I was walking into the hotel, and then I met. Yeah, I still remember that. And me and my brother afterwards, my brother was like, "You just met Dwight Howard? That's crazy." Yeah, because at that time we had the only NBA players that we had ever met were kind of if you go to a Warriors game or something like that. So and then teammates, and then time flies.
So just retiring, what moment in your career are you most proud of?
You're talking about specifically with the basketball game or just
with the game? Just with the game.
With the game, I think, man, what I'm most proud of, I would say maybe the on-court is winning 2 championships with my little brother, just because, and you know, this happened in Taiwan, and it was just like, you never would have thought that would happen.
I'm sure brother and professional.
To play with, because it hits different. Like, obviously, when I won with the Raptors in 2019, I wasn't a part of being on the court. Like, I was just DNPing every night, but it was still amazing. But then to do it with, like, the dude that you literally seen from day one, grew up with, spent, like, my whole life with, and then having my parents out there celebrating, that was.
How was it playing in Taiwan? Like, because y'all didn't grow up in Asia. So how was it going back to Asia and then actually playing?
It was, I mean, I mean, both of y'all know so much, just like, it's not that the U.S. fans, I'm not saying the U.S. fans take the players for granted, but it's just you see that level of play night in, night out. It's like, oh, tonight you want to go to the game? You don't want to go to the game or whatever. So it's like very normal. But for them to see NBA talent out in Asia, it's like, to them, it's like a once in a lifetime thing. And you feel that once in a lifetime energy. Even when we had the Rockets, when we had played in Taipei for the preseason game, when I say we were warming up 90 minutes to 2 hours before the game, and it was everybody in their seats, because it was like, we just want to see these guys warm up. We don't know if we're ever going to be able to see them warm up again. Like, that type of energy is unmatched.
I think that when you have that type of energy or you see it, it inspires you. Like, while you're in the moment, to want to play harder, or even after the moment when you want to go back to the gym, you remember those fans that came to see you.
It got to, because I remember his first game in Taiwan, he had like 4 points the first half. He was missing layups. He almost airballing the free throw, and they were cheering. But second half, he finished with like 40.
It was a whole different turnaround, but it was kind of like, because the fans gave me wings. So I understand that it make you want to just go out there, like, every shot going to go in. Everything that you're doing is going to be good because you're playing in front of your people. It's like the superhero brought all his, everybody with him.
It's even if you do something small, like if you laugh, they'll be like, he laughed. Or like trying to take photos, or if he drinks water, it's like, oh, Dwight drinks water too. And it's like, it's just like, you know what I mean? It's like every little detail is like, they love it, and the cameras are going and everything. So it's just that type of like, that type of just like appreciation for it all. It's just like, they're just like all eyes fixed on you. Even if you're not in the game, they're still like all the eyeballs are still. It's
what
crazy.
about like off the court, like food and all of that type of stuff?
I mean, I love it. The night market scene is amazing.
Chicken ass.
Yeah, your video on chicken ass. I can't tell you how many times that was sent to me and how many times I heard about it. Yeah, I mean.
What is it? Chicken?
Ass. Chicken ass.
Chicken ass.
Yeah.
Chicken ass. Oh shit.
All the Dwight Howard news too, and that when you took Taiwan by storm, that was obviously my parents born and raised there, and having a lot of family and friends out there. I was always kept up to date with everything going on. It's like, Dwight went to this night market. I'm like,
man, that was it. What it really felt like was, because you have been a part of the NBA, so you understand it's the whole grind. Summertime, you don't get a chance to really do what you want to do, because you still got to train, keep your body right. So when I went to Taiwan and I wasn't in the NBA, I was like, oh my God, I got some freedom. I get to go to the marketplaces and chill, relax, like just have a good time.
Exactly.
And I get to play basketball on top of that. Oh my God, I'm finna go crazy. So I had 8 months of like, it was like stress release. Where everything just kind of went away. Like all the stuff I used to think about, like, man, I should have been top 75. I should have been this, that, and the third. Going over there, just relaxing, getting away from all those emotional attachments that I had, and then seeing a whole different side of the world who just appreciated what I've already done. No strings attached. All that. So I'm like, man, this is heaven. It was great.
So for you, what made you like make that decision that late in your career to go overseas?
Yeah, I kind of like I didn't expect to be out of the NBA at the time that I was. Obviously, with the injury and everything, I was hoping I would be in the NBA for a little longer.
Yeah.
But I always knew no matter what, at some point, I would finish my career in Asia. I think for me, that was just like the diehard fans of, my grandparents and, my mom's side is from Zhejiang. My dad's side is from Fujian. So being able to play in the CBA, being able to play and represent New Taipei, my parents were both raised in Taipei. And so just kind of getting back to where my parents and grandparents were really like where they grew up, that was always something where I was like, I got to do it. So even when I had left the NBA, my agent was kind of like, the best chance of getting back into the NBA is to go play EuroLeague. And even then I was like, as much as I want to be back in the NBA, I can't really justify going to EuroLeague when I've had these hardcore fans who have supported me for my whole career. Like, I got to go and play in front of them.
Yeah.
So that's why I went back to Asia.
It was I know you was.
That was similar to I had got some offers to go to EuroLeague too, and I was like, you know what? I remember coming into the league, I promised that I would go to Taiwan, after I was done playing, and do something out there for the fans. When I got the offer to come out there, I told him, I was like, yo, you want to go to Taiwan?
We was out in 4 days.
And he was like,
that
what?
was crazy.
Really?
He was like, what? I was like, yeah. Because I had an offer from the Nets to do a
called
10-day.
Oh. And it was when Kyrie, KD, and them, and he was like, yo, it's 1 a.m. He was like, yo, what you think? You think I should do it? I'm like, man, you did the
Nets
non-guarantee.
fans, so he's biased.
I said, yo, I'm biased, but you did the non-guarantee with the Lakers and got the job. Why not with the Nets?
I was like, nah.
He went out, came back at 5 a.m.
Because it was,
And he was like, man, I'm going to Taiwan.
Yeah, because I promise you, it was like, they said you get a 10-day training day contract. And I was like, man, it's no way. The only thing I can get is a 10-day contract. Like, I just feel like that's too much of a risk. Even though I know I can go out there and do something, I would rather go somewhere and be appreciated, for what I have now, instead of doing all this fighting to get to a position that I may never get. So
how was like the last free agency for you? Calling teams.
Yeah, I relate to that a lot because you don't realize how quick the perception of you changes or like how quickly it's like, I'm doing well, I got a nice role, to I literally can't get a job. And so when I think a lot of it started with the knee injury, and then basically after we won in 2019, I was like, all right, I'm getting back from this, my year-long, this traumatic injury, and I couldn't get anything. And when I say I was like, it got to the point where I was like begging teams, where I said, I was asking them, can I just get a non-guaranteed training camp invite? I'll prove myself. I could not even get a non-guaranteed training camp invite. I'm saying, like, you have 15 guaranteed roster spots and another, 8 to 10 players who just come to training camp. And I was like, I'll show you, like, just get me in the building and I'll show you that I'm fully recovered. And I couldn't get that. That's why I ended up going to the G League. And so I went and played a season in the G League.
How was that?
It was great because that's something that is kind of controversial too, but I ended up doing really well. I was top 10 in points, top 10 in assists on the second best team. And then basically all the top leaders, like of the top 10, I was the only one who didn't get even a 10-day or anything.
Really?
So I was just like, what's happening? Like, I'm proving myself. I'm averaging 20 and 8 or whatever, like on one of the best teams, and clearly showing that I can do it. But again, it's just, you don't realize how fast it can change. It can change.
Yeah,
and that was right after the championship, right?
Yeah, so I won the championship. I went overseas, had a really good year, and then that still wasn't enough. And so I was like, all right, I'll come to the G League and prove it. And so I came to the G League, and that was one of the craziest decisions too, because I ended up giving, between on-court and off-court salary, I ended up giving up $7 million to take a $30,000 salary in the G League.
That's crazy.
And I was like, it's okay, because I'm going to prove myself, and I'll make, I mean, it wasn't about the money at that point. I was blessed to be able to kind of make that decision financially. But I was like, it's not about the money. I'll prove myself, and I'll get another NBA contract, and I'll be just fine.
Do you regret that now, giving up the $7 million?
I don't. Obviously, principle-wise, like, again, a lot of it's first world problems, and I had the privilege of being making that financial decision. But to me, it was about proving to myself that I could still do it and chasing something that you believe in. And so to me, it was a big challenge to myself of like, you played 9 years in the NBA, who would kind of go back to the G League to do that? And the fact that I did well and did well enough to earn a job again, to me, kind of validated what I felt. So I don't regret it, but I can't lie and say that the fact that I never got another offer was, even a 10-day was just like really disappointing.
Did that how did that affect you mentally? Like, knowing that you had the skills, you had the talent, you did everything that you possibly could, and you were still told no. Like, you still had the door shut.
I think that it brought back a lot of kind of the pain from growing up, because even in high school, it was like, I won a state championship. I was California Player of the Year, and I had 0 scholarship offers. Same with the draft, just, doing really well and going completely undrafted and things like that. So it's just like, it brought back all these memories of like when I had proven, more than proven, it's like, I'm literally the top player in all of California. I cannot get 1 scholarship offer.
So you didn't have not even
D2
or anything?
I couldn't even, there were D3 teams who wouldn't even return my call.
Oh my
what
God.
the hell?
And I'm like literally state championship California Player of the Year, and I couldn't get the D3 teams to. I had sent my tapes out and everything, so I think that brought back a lot. And then because of that, I ended up finding a sports psychologist. So I found a sports psychologist, and I mean, this is one of the craziest things. The first thing he had me do, he was like, write down everybody who's ever hurt you in your basketball journey. I was like, what? So I had a long list, and that took a lot of like mental energy. But then the second thing he had me do, like, I was like, dude, I can't do it. He was like, I want you to call every single one of them that you have their number, or find their number, call them and explain to them how they've hurt you, not in a toxic way, but just have a grown adult conversation and just let them know. And I was like, I don't want to, that's so awkward. Like, I got to call the GM from, 8 years ago, and this head coach from 10 years ago, and, this teammate from, I was like, I don't want to do all that. And he made me do it. And all of that wasn't for them, it was for me. So I could let go of kind of the pain and the trauma, and I could start fresh and start building. And so he was like, you want to move forward, you got to go backwards first. And so I did that, man.
And was that post playing? Like, was that?
No, this was right after the G League.
It's so crazy because we did the same thing. Like, we hit up Shaq and we squashed that. We hit up KG, squashed that. We hit up the Magic. Like, it's the same process.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
just really just letting it go, because a lot of times we be holding on to stuff and we think that the other person is getting affected from it, but it's really just us getting affected.
The real estate they hold in our mind and how it affects us.
Yeah, so you gotta
to
let
see
it,
the good in people.
Gotta let it go.
Well, I'm very curious. What is what was maybe one of those conversations that you were kind of like really touched by or affected by?
Like that made me like have a bad perception of somebody.
No. Like what that was helpful, like a positive. Like what conversation was like, oh, I'm really glad I did that. That was.
I would say just watching different movies sometimes, and then realizing from the movies and stuff, like letting go is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
A lot of times, we would hold on to so much and say somebody, like you said, taking real estate in our mind, and when we doing that, they're never affected by it.
Yeah, they're not even thinking about it.
They're not even thinking about it, and they probably didn't even know that you did they did what you saying they did. They probably didn't even see it how you saw it. So it's always good to have that conversation because they couldn't even been thinking that way. You know, and that happened with me and Shaq, me and KG. But once we had that conversation, we was able to, okay, I see what you're saying. I got you.
I remember Shaq thought he was coming to fight him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when we
Spoke
went
to Shaq, he was like,
conversation.
Dwight came with this big old security, and I was like, damn, he got me. He was like, but then he put his hand out. I knew it was he's.
Yeah, I don't know why he thought I guess because of what everybody might have been saying
Like
and
turning
back
it
and
into
forth.
this
Yeah,
story,
and I'm like, when I heard that he was in the same building, I was like, man, let me just go talk to him, man, because like I'm tired of this. Like he say, she say, we don't know what's going on. We see each other. It's some type of animosity, but it's for literally no reason. He just have a different viewpoint. And if it is some hate, and I ain't got no hate towards somebody that, I grew up watching and, saying, hey, man, I could learn a lot from this person. I could learn from off the court, on the court, all these different things. So why would I ever have any type of hate for him? But, again, separate will conquer and divide. That's what always happens. And I was like, man, that's ego. I don't have no, ego for that. So I'm glad we squashed it.
I give a lot of respect to you for doing that because I think the more successful or accomplished you are, the harder it is to do that and say like, all right, I'm just going to put all that aside and just like try to reconcile or try to just build a bridge essentially. And I'm like, wow, I actually, that's because I know how hard it was for me to do it. And I'm not the player that you were. I don't have nearly the accomplishments or the stats, but for you to do that, I'm like, okay, that's a great example.
Who was
I
someone
really
that
just
you
put all that
dated
to
with?
aside. I'm sorry, boo. I put all that to aside. Like, the player, the accomplishments, none of that even mattered because at the end of the day, that was just a part of what we did as for a living.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to take that to off the court. Like, dude, if I'm on the court, I'm only one way because I'm on the court. I have to entertain the crowd. I got to keep this persona going, you know what I'm saying? But off the court, we brothers, you know what I'm saying? Because we all came from the same, it ain't the same struggle, but we all had the struggle to get to where we at. Like, and then we're also in this brotherhood that not a lot of people have made it in. So why would I hate on you?
Totally.
You know what I'm saying? Because we both made it. Like, shoot, we should be out showing other people how to make it. You know what I'm saying? So I think once we got to that point and realized it, then it's been A1 since.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
The NBA season is rolling, and DraftKings' newest Pick 6 is the easiest way to play for your big shot at big wins. Here's how it works. Just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats. The better you pick, the bigger your payout. New DraftKings customers are getting $50 in Pick 6 credits with just a $5 entry on your first pick set. Don't just watch basketball. Pick, play, cash in. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code DH12. That's code DH12. Play just $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Make the call. Ride the upside. In partnership with DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions may vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 is not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable. Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Was there any specific conversation you had that, like you said to him, was really powerful?
Kenny Atkinson, head coach of the Cavs now, but Kenny was my guy. When I was with the Knicks and I couldn't get any playing time, me and him were the first ones in the facility, the last to leave. and we just did this for months and months, and then Linsanity happened. Then he, me and him joined the Nets together, and I essentially called him and I told him, like, yo, after this injury, like, I had heard a lot about how you were, like, basically you're like, yeah, after this injury, he's not the same. So you guys shipped me off to a team that's trying to lose and putting me in the hardest position of coming back from 2 straight years of injury on a team that's trying to lose.
The Nets? Or?
When I went to the Hawks.
Oh, okay.
We were rebuilding. Yeah. And so I just told him, like, and I told him I was like, I wish, because I had asked the organization, I was like, what's going on? I'm hearing these rumors. And they had told me, they're like, no, you're not in the conversations. We're not trying to trade you or anything. And I swear, this was in the morning, and that night I got traded. So clearly I was, right? And so I had a lot of hurt from that, because I was like, I feel like I trusted. I was taking what the organization was telling me. Yeah. Kenny wasn't telling me that directly, but I was just telling him, like, yo, I felt like we were so close, and you were my head coach, that, like, I wish you could have given me a heads up, or somebody could have really, told me straight up. And then he ended up, like, really appreciating that I called him and said this to him, because I was holding on to this, like, yo, like, this is like my guy who believed in me from day one, and how's he gonna do that to me? And so he didn't know how much it affected me. And then he said something that was like, that blew me away. He was like, you know what, Jeremy? You're right. Maybe I gave up a little too early. I didn't realize you could come back from the injury and do that and play the way you did. So I take that. He's like, I'm sorry. And I was like, dang, like, and I think for me and him now, it's like we'll still text and we'll still keep in touch, but it just totally, like, if it wasn't for that, maybe I might not have spoken to him for the rest of my life. And without him even really knowing, because it's not like he was the one who traded me away. Yeah. He had his input into the decision, but he was not the final go, right? And so that was just something where I was like, exactly what you're saying. It's like beyond just the business side of things. It was like, that was like, I consider him like a brother. Like he made my career. He helped Linsanity, like, all that happen. And so for us to be able to reconnect and be cool again after that was priceless.
But that's like, didn't you, after the Hawks, didn't you get traded? Didn't you get to the Toronto?
Yeah, so after the Hawks, I requested a buyout, and then I joined the Raptors, like, with, like, maybe a month and a half before the playoffs, 2 months before the playoffs started.
What made you request a buyout? Like,
it was the same thing. I was like, oh, I was playing well with the Hawks, but because we were rebuilding and kind of, like, not really there to win, for me, even though I was playing well, everybody kind of said, like, yeah, but it's with the Hawks. So I was trying to prove that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was trying to prove that, like, I'm a good player and I can still contribute to it and make things happen, but I'm not young anymore. So it doesn't matter if you're doing it on a team that's losing or not, or like at the bottom of the rankings. Everybody will take your accomplishment and say, yeah, but it doesn't really count because
it's this team. So how did that make you feel? Because, I've been in those situations where the team might not be trying to win, and everybody on the outside that doesn't know what's going on with the team and all the different dynamics, they're asking, why you not playing? Why you on the bench? Why this happened? Why that happened? You got to deal with that. Yep. And you're not playing. So did stuff like that affect you? And how did it affect you? And then it seemed like you had a great outcome, but it was kind of like bittersweet.
Yeah.
Because you won the championship, but you didn't get a chance to play.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not going to name the organization because I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus, but there was one specific game where it really hit me was I had 20 and 10 after 3 quarters. We were up about 15 to 18. And in the fourth quarter in overtime, I didn't play 1 second. And so I'm looking at the assistant coach, watching our lead go down. I have 20 and 10 after 3 quarters. Like, I'm on pace to have a real nice game. And, and he goes, yeah, we got the call from above. You're done for tonight.
That's crazy.
And so I was like, what? Like, who picked up the phone? How'd y'all get on the phone in the middle of the game? And he's like, I'm like, what happened? But they got a look from somebody in the crowd was like, nah, like, so me and this other player, the other player who was doing, he had like 25 after 3 quarters. They were both like, yo, those two, they're done. And so we ended up losing in overtime, and this was against another team that was also tied for last, and they were trying to get, the best projection and the odds to get the number 1 pick. And so after that, it just kind of like, it really, which the NBA has made a lot of progress on, kind of like how do we change it so that,
teams gonna be tanking and stuff like that.
Yeah, I just seen they just fined 2 teams this year. I mean,
like yesterday,
Man.
right?
Yeah.
It just happened yesterday. So that changed. Like, it made me. But I think for you mentioned this earlier. Is like, how do I maintain the optimism or the hope or see the good and not let it affect me or take on that? Because then you'll become jaded or bitter or angry with the world or the way things are. And for me, it's a lot of like kind of getting back and resetting and processing these things, not just like sweeping it under the rug, because you sweep too much under the rug, eventually it'll build up and you won't realize, damn, I became this person.
But when you request a buyout, was there time in between before you joined the Raptors? Like who from the Raptors reached out and was like, we want you?
It's hilarious because I was with the Hawks playing the Raptors, and Kyle Lowry comes up to me in the middle of the game. He's like, yo, you coming? I'm like, what? He's like, you coming to you joining? And I didn't know at that time that the Raptors were talking to my agent. Oh. My agent was trying to, have me, just like, you're doing well, lock in, stay, I'll let you know when the details are the details for real. Yeah. And so I was like, let me find you after the game.
To me, I would want my agent to let me know something, because I feel like that would give me a level of anxiety, like trying to play and focus and don't know what's going on, but then you're talking to the team and they're trying to get me, then somebody else comes over and they're like, oh.
No, I had asked my agent, because my agent gave me a head up, gave me a heads up. He's like, yo, there's about 46 teams calling right now. I was like, don't tell me who, don't tell me what. I just I'm in a good place. I was like, I'm trying to just stay focused on helping my team win as much as I can, but let me know when it's like really close. Yeah. And so I told him, because I didn't want to go into specific games being like, yo, I have extra pressure. I gotta impress in this one because they're talking to my agent, So it was actually me that was like, yo, I know something's happening, but I don't know which teams. But when Kyle was like, yo, so what's going on? Like, he already knew about the conversations that I didn't know. It's pretty cool.
Speaking of pressure, we gotta talk about that Linsanity, man.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, how did the Linsanity start? Like, how did it feel? Like, because it's you. So how did that, from your POV?
Even from before it started.
The reality was, I had a lot of pressure, not just because I wanted to make it in the league, but I had a lot of financial pressure as well to kind of take care of my family and to pay off all the different debts and loans that we had. And so I think for me, it was kind of one of the things where it was like a dream. And whenever you have your craziest game, you're almost you're not cognizant, you don't recognize everything that's happening. You're in a zone. So when you think back, it feels like a blur, and you're like, damn, I ended up with 40 and 20? How did that happen, right? I've never had 40 and 20. I'm talking about you. But I'm like, it's like you don't process. It's not like you remember every single point that happened or every bucket that you scored or every decision that you made. It's a blur. Yeah. And that's what Linsanity felt like, was you're so immersed in the zone where every play that was happening was just happening, and it was instincts, and you're in a point where there is no inhibition, no fear, no overthinking, and you're just flowing. And that spin move against Derek Fisher, exactly.
You had 38 on Kobe.
The spin move against Derek Fisher, it was like, I don't do that move normally, and so I hadn't done that move in a couple years, and it just came out. It just happened.
The
and
flow state, the zone.
I remember running back yo, I really just hit that spin move. What? Why did I do that? But it's because I kind of just let it all go.
So you didn't even think.
Listen to what he said. You said when you kind of let it all go, everything started to flow. Yeah. So even in your own personal life, when you let it all go, the people, all these different things, everything seemed like it started to flow. Yeah. Because it was like you had these spiritual gates that were closed or blocked.
Yes.
Because you was allowing somebody else to kind of like infiltrate or have space in your mind. Yeah. So when you let it go, now you just living in the moment.
Exactly.
So when Linsanity, you were just in the moment. That's why I was a blur. So everything else is like, dang, I really can't remember because I was so locked in. And I feel like that's what life has, and that's why it's so good to forgive and let go, because you're holding on and it's causing blockages only for you. Yeah. It's not even for the other person. Exactly. So, when you said that, it just hit like he said it. When he let go in his Linsanity, that's when he became himself.
And even before that, wasn't you the story about you were gonna quit before it all started?
No, I wasn't gonna quit. I did quit.
What?
Oh my
I told
God.
the story. I told the story before, but I had just gotten cut from the Warriors, and then I got picked up by the Rockets, and I went to Rockets training camp, and I was the 5th string point guard. There's still training camp, so I was the 5th string point guard. They had 15 guaranteed roster spots. They had 15 guaranteed players. So I'm like, I couldn't get a rep in the game, but I actually couldn't even get in on practice. Damn. So we're doing 2.5-hour practices twice a day, and I can't even get reps in practice because there's too many point guards. And they only care. At that time, they had Johnny Flynn, Goran Dragic, and I think Kyle Lowry, or I forget. Yeah,
that's crazy.
I think those three. So they basically had a 3-headed monster like lineup at the point guard position. So they were just kind of figuring out who's the best of these three.
Rotation,
And so I didn't have any reps, and so I actually cleaned out my locker. I put everything in my mesh bag. I left, and I called my agent, and I said, "Yo, tell the Rockets to cut me. I'm done, because this is a waste of my time. Like, I can't even get a sweat in practice." and so I can't prove myself, And so basically, my agent and my parents were like, "No, you're like, we've come too far. We're not letting you do this." Okay, cool. So I went back to practice, and I finished training camp. Obviously, I still ended up getting cut, but the moral of the story is 3 months later was Linsanity. But I was that close
to just
calling it quits.
Yeah,
and that is, and that, you never know when your breakthrough is.
That picture when they got the axe.
Yep. And you don't know which one is like on the 1,000th one. The whole thing is gonna break, but you don't know when. And,
I was literally just having a conversation with my pops the other day about how right before you get to the finish line is when everything seems to go haywire.
Exactly.
So I was telling my pops, I was like, "Pops, man, it got to be something great around the corner." We were just talking about things that was going on. And I was like, because it's going haywire. It must be. We're close to a blessing. And so I was like, that's how life is. Like, everything seemed to go haywire. The closest people to you, friends, family, like kids, even like it could make you like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah.
But it's like, no, you got to stay locked in, because that one moment that you allow yourself to get sucked in to something, then now everything you just worked for it. You just lost it.
Yeah. Let me tell my father's story. He know the story. So my father's a Celtics fan. I'm a Nets fan. So we're watching he know the story. My father's watching the Celtics, and you get in the game, and you had like 2 points, I think.
Yep.
Assist or something, but you did one move. You split the defense, and you did a drop-off pass, and my father was like, "That guy, he's going to be good one day." And I was like, "What?" I was like, he had 2 points. Like, he just got in the game.
Yeah.
So now you're playing the Nets. So the next day, and that's when Linsanity happened.
Yep.
He's like, "I told you he was going to be something." And I'm like, "Yo, this guy, what is he, a freaking..."
like a prophet or something.
Yeah, but did you feel like when you finally got in the game, like those 2 games, that's the beginning of it, obviously. Did you feel like your time was coming after that game against the Celtics?
So, actually, I was going to say this earlier because of what you were saying about letting go and the concept of letting go. But I think so much of everybody in life, not just basketball, just in life, the big, like one of the biggest things that is constantly weighing on us and preventing us from reaching our potential is the fear of failure. And so the concept of letting go is, I want to see this thing happen, and I'm holding too tight to it. And when you hold too tight to it, now you're scared. You're playing. You have different inhibitions, and that was the Celtics game for me. Was right before that game, during our lunch shoot around, the assistant coach came up to me, and I hadn't been playing. For like the first 2 months. They weren't giving me any playing time, and he goes, hey, we're going to put you in the game tonight. Don't do too much. That was his advice.
What?
Don't try to do too much. So I was like, all right, cool. So I went in there and I played it safe. I was trying not to make mistakes. Mm-hmm. And that's not how, I mean, you're trying not to make mistakes. You're trying to hold on to like a good result, right? Mm-hmm. And so I was just very timid. I went out there and it looked like I didn't do anything except for, like you said, 2 points and 1 assist. Nothing, right? Then the next day we fly back, we play the Nets. My agent calls me at lunch and he goes, hey, if you don't play well tonight, this is your last game in the NBA. Like I was literally about to get cut and that was my last game. And it was then when I had my back literally against the wall where I was about to get cut for the 3rd time in 3 months, where I was like, I forget it. I'm gonna just go. I'm gonna just do me. And that's like I let that result go, and I was like, forget it. I'm gonna just do me. And I started taking risks and doing things that I wouldn't have done normally or I couldn't do normally. And that's when my talent and my instincts actually was able to be shown. And so a lot of it is just letting go. And I literally was telling myself, like, if you want to cut me, it's fine. But tonight, I'm playing Jeremy Lin basketball, and that's the bottom line. I'm going out on my terms, right? And so that was the difference between the Celtics game and the Nets game the next night.
That's crazy.
My agent was like, yo, you're essentially done. And I was like, all right, forget it then. I'm going to just swing.
So you go on stretch after stretch, it's 30s, 20s, right?
We're talking about the infamous game, the wave off.
No, I ain't going to that. Damn, he's getting all the way to the wave. Hey, look, he think about that. I was going to say, during that stretch, you finally meet. Remember Chalmers? We had Chalmers on the podcast. He was like, oh, I ended Linsanity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How did you feel throughout that stretch and then playing the Heat with LeBron and them?
Yeah, the whole and you know, we were teammates, so you know my personality is like, when the spotlight is on me, I get nervous. I start sweating. Like if I walk into a restaurant and people recognize me, like, oh, this, like you can
feel all that.
I like shrink, right? Like it's overwhelming for me. I don't, and so Linsanity was at times 100,000 of just like, whoa, like what's happening? And for me, going into the Heat game, it was like I had so much hype that everybody had me circled on their calendar. And for me, I'm like, I'm just trying to make it to the cut deadline so I can have my minimum rookie guarantee, my minimum salary be guaranteed. Like, I'm just trying to make it. And everyone else is like, I'm trying to end him.
Damn.
And that's the reality was like, you know, and credit to Chalmers and the Big Three and the Miami Heat. They had a, you know, that was kind of what everybody says, like the night that Linsanity ended. And credit to them because they did that and they put in, but to me it was like the fact that I could garner that attention and that respect of them, like watching that much film on me and being like, tonight we're not going to let him have anything. That is a sign to me that like, wow, like you really made waves. That's like you really made waves. Like I was never supposed to be here. I wasn't even supposed to be playing in college, like let alone the NBA, let alone having LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and Mario Chalmers and Norris Cole and other people being like, yo, we're going to send the whole fleet to go stop him.
Yeah, we got a game plan for him. That's tough.
And so for me, it's actually like, of course, like I get a lot of hate and I get laughed at a lot, but from a different standpoint, it's like, yo, the fact that I'm even in the arena competing against these guys is a huge statement of representation. That y'all know me and you're coming to really try to end me, like,
and
because before that we couldn't even get respect.
And I've seen players talking about that they were trying to do everything they could to stop you during that time and nothing was working. So that's big respect.
I think that's just fire because it just showed he was in that flow state, because in that moment he probably don't even remember a lot of the moves and stuff that he was doing because nothing else mattered. He had all that pain stored up from not accomplishing and not being on a team and not being put out on a certain team. And his agent hit him and like, yo, You gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. Come on, man. Come on, let's go. So, shout out to your agent, man, for doggone stepping up and keeping it real with you.
Yeah, Roger Montgomery. That's my guy.
Elijah Montgomery. There's been some really good agents, in this game who really, care, for the players, So,
talk about. I got this video. Hold on.
Dwight, your dance finally clicked for me. Check it out. Hoo-ah! Yeah. Hoo-ah! Killed it, right?
That really sucked. You're supposed to be a professional.
All right, show me then.
You gotta do like that first, like you fit for the defense. And after you get this down, then you see the chocolate shoulders. You gotta move up. You know what I'm saying?
Dwight, there's nothing chocolate about this show. Dwight. I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
Okay, yeah. Jeremy with the 3-pointer, yeah.
Oh my God.
With the dunk, right, yeah.
Are you serious?
Hold on one second.
Yeah. YG?
Oh yeah, you know that song?
First things first, I love all my...
Hello?
So the title of that video, like, I guess I think it was how to fit in.
How to make it in the NBA or how to fit in the NBA or something like that. Yeah.
Talk about signing that contract and having the spotlight on you, and also trying to blend in with the culture, because the culture probably was a way different culture than you were used to.
It definitely was way different. I grew up never with I grew up always as the only Asian, so it's not like that concept was new, but obviously like at the highest level in the NBA, culturally it's like it's a huge culture gap. And so for me, I was just trying to make a comedic take on kind of the differences in everything. And, I have some hilarious stories from people just trying to understand, my culture more and different things like that. And also me having to learn more about other people's culture. But I think that's the message I was trying to convey was basketball unites people, right? And actually, when you gave your intro to this podcast, you're kind of talking about how this is like, you don't want to speak evil, you don't want to do evil, you want this to be like an uplifting thing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it was, is like we come from different places, but because of basketball, like we are one.
Yeah.
And how do we kind of do that? How did we become brothers through it? But if it wasn't for basketball, we would never have crossed paths. And so that's kind of the beautiful thing about it all, which is even this right here. It's like, it's amazing to be able to be here and to be able to do this and to be able to learn from each other. You coming to Taiwan and having fun and going to the night market, like these are all amazing like cross-cultural experiences.
So, in your time of playing basketball, what do you say has been some of the greatest lessons that basketball has taught you, especially on a professional level?
I think we know this, but it's extremely powerful of just like, don't judge a book by its cover, or the biggest thing is don't come to a conclusion too fast. Mm-hmm. There's always another side of the story. And this is something where, for example, like my parents had never met an African American in their life. It was kind of like, fast forward, that's where they started. Mm-hmm. Then we started, then she started picking up all my teammates, spending time with them, spending time with their parents. Fast forward 15 years, when we're on the same team, and my mom is eating breakfast, like, for fun. They're like arranging for fun with James Harden and Patrick Beverley's mom. So it's like the three moms: my mom, James Harden's mom, and Patrick Beverley's mom, and they're going to eat breakfast together. And I'm like, how do we like voluntarily they're hitting each other up like, yo, let's go here. And it's like, what happened?
That's so good.
And
basketball.
So I think it's all through basketball. It's like learning that, like, we may not look the same or come from the same place, but actually the struggles that we have are the same. We have the struggles of mankind, and those are very parallel.
You had one of the best responses. I remember you had got the dreads.
Oh yeah.
And Kenyon was like, "Yo, why you got them dreads?" And he's like, "Well, you got Chinese Pat him on your arm.
That was a great comeback.
On the court, like, what would you say as far as, like, do you feel like basketball makes you become more logical, or you have to, like, look at the world in a logical sense? Because in basketball, you have to think about everything so logical, like how somebody plays and how can I stop them, like all these different things.
That's a great question. So I come from both my parents are engineers, and so everything is a formula. Everything is very structured. So you put in this and you get this result every single time. But that's not basketball, and that's not sports, and that's not life. But to my parents, if I played bad that night, in the beginning, they were like, well, we had to find out why. So maybe it was your pregame meal that was off, or maybe you didn't sleep as much in your nap. So everything was kind of part of a formula. But basketball is best when it's called what I call organized chaos. Yes. So there's organization and structure. You got to have plays, and you got to have principles, and you got to have rules. But then amidst all of that, there's a ton of chaos and things that won't happen. When you run a play 5-on-0, you're swinging it side to side. But in a real game, he jumps the play, you fake it, and you drive down the lane, and all of a sudden it's organized chaos. So you're finding chaos within a structure. And I actually think that's what basketball has taught me, is to answer your question, is logic can only take you so far. Reason can only take you so far. There's an art to it. There's art. There's the flow state, the impromptu-ness of reactivity of, like, this happened, so I'm going to do this. And so there's both things that happen. And in life, you can do your best to plan everything. Even as we know as parents, it's like, we're going to do this, this, and this. This is what science says. This is what the parental guides and the books say. And then they respond differently, and you have to learn how to adapt.
You got to problem solve in basketball. You got to react.
So as logic will take you only so far, and after a certain point, you got to you have to trust more than just logic. You have to be reactive. You have to flow, and you have to just, like, kind of just not let logic always win.
Do you think that's what has happened with how the NBA is now? I say that because the logic would just be analytics. You know what I'm saying? How everything now is so analytical with, you know, they don't even care about how players would be around each other, the chemistry that they would have. They only looking at the numbers. So if your numbers would match with their person numbers and that person numbers, hey, if we put them on the team, the probability of is going to be like this. So it's not no actual, like, you know, how did that, you know, feel for you going through that stage? Because I felt like we were a part of that first era of, like, analytical or logical basketball where it wasn't no, like.
And to even go off that, the year you were with the Rockets, numbers was a big thing, and sometimes a player does things that's intangible.
Yeah.
So how was that, like, in terms of people looking at the numbers, saying you underperformed, etc.?
Yeah, I'll give you a great example. When we were playing together, the shot that everybody was trying to take out the game was the mid-range, right? Because it's the least efficient shot. And for me, I'm somebody who gets to the rim, and that's my strength, is getting to the rim and finishing at the cup. And what I realized was I didn't shoot, like, I hardly shot a mid-range for like 2-3 years because everybody's trying to take it out of the game. But what I realized was I can't get to the rim the same anymore because I'm not shooting the mid-range. So when I get in the mid-range, they're not pressing up because there's no threat.
Because they know you're not going to shoot it.
Yeah. Exactly. And so that's a thing where, again, organized chaos is the structure is generally we don't want you shooting 7 to 10 mid-range jumpers in a game. But that doesn't mean I should just take it out altogether because in reality, shooting and being a threat in the mid-range opens up my biggest strength. Another example of the mid-range is how many times do people hit game winners getting to the rim and shooting layups? Very rarely, because at the end of the game when it's a buzzer beater and it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and the defense is loaded up, you're not getting to the rim. And so as much as that's the most efficient shot, you're not getting a clean 3 and you're not getting to the rim. Otherwise, 2-3 help defenders are coming over, and you see a ton of game winners being hit in the mid-range. And so that goes to show, like, it's not one size fits all, and you can't apply the same thing to every possession in the court. But principle-wise, yes, generally you don't want to be a team that's just firing mid-range shots every single possession. I understand that.
But see, I felt like when the game had the mid-range, the post-game, and the three-point range, it gave a variety. But then now It's just like
The
everything in life is technology is taking over. So it's like the people want to find the easiest way or the most efficient way to get something done.
Yes.
So if they're looking at efficiency rates on the court, you might be efficient with this group of guys, but they might only look at the numbers and it says that, well, he's not going to be efficient at all, so you might not play. And I felt like all of us had to deal with that in the era that we played in, because analytics started to become such a big thing that it kind of like, I feel like it lost basketball for a minute.
Yeah. I agree. I totally agree with that.
Hey y'all, sorry to break away from the show. I just had to let you know that there's a reason why I'm a basketball Hall of Famer. Just like there's a reason why Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. With over $25 billion recovered for over 500,000 clients, Morgan & Morgan has proven a track record of fighting to get you full and fair compensation. For over 35 years, Morgan & Morgan has been fighting for the people, just like you and I. If you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless they win. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/above-the-rim or dial #law #529 from your cell phone. This is a paid advertisement.
I know, Dwight, what was it? You made the decision. You left the Lakers, went to the Rockets. Mm-hmm. You left the Rockets, went to the Lakers.
Yes, yeah.
And Dwight was trying to skip to that earlier, but like that was a crazy time because that was the most losing team
in franchise history. Yeah.
Why do you think y'all were losing? How was it playing on that team?
Well,
that actually started a trend because they started losing for like 6 years straight after that.
I mean, the first thing is our two best players had season-ending injuries.
Nash.
So, Nash got hurt before the season even started and was done, and then Kobe got hurt with his shoulder and was also done, and I don't want to. We're all responsible for that result, which was being the losingest team in franchise history.
Yeah.
But there was nothing really right, and it started with culture. It went down to everything from in the organization, whether it's coaching players. Like, we didn't have enough talent. I wasn't good enough. Like, other players weren't good enough to be able to. We just didn't have it to be able to get that done, and we lost our two best players, and we didn't have, and that's exactly what you're saying of the analytics of like, okay, well, he shoots this from the corner and this, but there's so many other things that are intangibles in basketball where it's like, how do you evaluate how good of a teammate somebody is, or how much they boost other people's confidence, or how they're able to encourage somebody when that person has missed 3 shots and is not willing to fire the 4th shot. Like, and they get the word from somebody on the bench. It's like, yo, next time you catch it, I need you to shoot. Like, I don't care. Shoot it. You can't. There's so many things within the concept of human-to-human interaction that isn't shown through numbers and stats. And that's a big part of it as well, which is why analytics can take you only so far. But how do you blend together personalities? How do you build good culture and good leadership? How do you create a culture of constant, like, self-confidence and empowerment? Like, these are things that the analytics don't always fully show. And so that's something that we're missing that year with the Lakers.
Because even with Dwight talking about the wave off, when you waved them off, you said that you was trying to look for a different direction at the time. So talk about that play, like, because if you missed it, people said you would have been traded.
Yeah, probably would have. Actually, I probably would have been cut, not traded. I've been out. But I think that's a microcosm of that season. Was like nobody was on the same page, and we all know what Kobe wanted. He wanted the ball, and he wanted to get out of the way. But we also had to play. And so we were trying to run the play. And so it just wasn't happening. Like, he was supposed to clear out to the weak side. Boozer was supposed to come up and set a screen going to my right, and we couldn't figure it out. So then what ended up happening was Kobe was stuck there, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start driving at him. I was just going to start going towards him and use him as a screen. And then I heaved a very difficult
That
shot,
joint
and
was
thank
crazy.
God it went in, because otherwise, like you said, I would have been ended. But that was a microcosm of our season, man. It was like we're not on the same page. We end up with a really bad shot, a really difficult shot, and that just happened to go in. But most nights that shot wasn't going in, and we were losing, and that's what ended up happening.
Even talking about conflict, me and Dwight was talking in the car. He tells a story about how when him and Kobe argued one day, and they were on a jet with both families, and Kobe didn't talk to him.
Oh yeah, we had got into it on the court. It was a play that happened on the court where it was in New Orleans. They kept doing this like pick and roll play, and he was the helper, the helper. And I had said it a couple times to him, like, you gotta help. And then he got upset, and then we got to the bench, and he was like, man, fuck you, or whatever. And I said, yo, you ain't gonna talk to me like, saying. So we got into it, but then after that, it was kind of like we didn't talk for a while, like we didn't talk at the All-Star game and all these different things. And, I just felt like, dang, like what happened? Like I felt like it was all my fault. But I was like, man, I was just only thinking in the moment, like, hey, you got to help. I would say if it was anybody else.
Yeah.
So y'all had that moment?
Yeah, we did. Very similar. He was upset at me over something that I was actually trying to do, but the coach was telling me not to do it. And so he was like, no, don't foul him. I was like, no, we got to foul him, right? So Kobe was like, foul him. I was like, I know I'm trying to, but I'm telling the coach, and the coach is telling me don't foul. So then I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So it ended up being something where he had given me really bad body language. So I texted him. And we couldn't, like, me and him, like, when we would lose, we'd be up at like 3, 4 in the morning, just not able to sleep, just very competitive.
Yeah.
So I texted him, and I was like, hey man, like, I really don't appreciate the body language. And he came back with a sharp response, and then I went back at him. But it ended cordial, where I ended up saying, I was like, I'm not saying that you can't teach me. You're obviously like 100 times the player I am. I want to learn anything and everything I can from you. I'm just asking, can you just say and do it in a way that's like respectful to me as a man, right?
Yes.
And so he was like, all right, I got you. And then he sent over a text with some advice. He's like, let's start with this. I was like, I got you. I'm going to be focused on that. I'm going to be working on this. I'm going to be thinking on this of exactly what you're saying. I'm just trying to get better. I'm trying to help this team more.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't speak for the next 5 months.
Damn.
I know. You already know. Where it's like,
Yeah.
It was like, for him, it was, and he even talked about it, because we patched it up later, but he had talked about, like, he's not used to people challenging him. And I wasn't challenging him like I'm better than you and I'm smarter than you. I was only challenging him like, hey, can you teach me in a way that's a little bit more effective for me to process it? It's not versus not like talking down to me. And I think, and so we didn't, and shortly after that, he ended up having a season-ending injury, but we didn't speak for months. And so, and it's the same thing. We're walking by each other in the facility. We're doing events together, team appearances together.
No,
We were
nothing.
in a green room one time, and it was just me and him, and then his one member of his business team and one member of my business team.
Yeah.
0 words.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until the following year when I was with the Hornets, when we played, where he came up to the middle of the game, and he was just like, what's up, man? How you doing? How's your family? How are your parents?
Yeah.
And that's when I knew he was kind of like,
Respect.
I still have love for you. And so we texted after that.
Yeah.
He started, can you give me advice? But it just took him a little while to get used to somebody challenging or maybe saying like, yo, the method that you use is not the most effective.
See, at least he ain't hold on, because the next year, that's when that fight happened with Dwight.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and him got into it, and then so the next year it's like we got into a little scuffle.
Yep.
And we was on the same team when that happened.
Yeah.
Y'all
He was on the Rockets.
that year?
Was he though?
No, I think it was no, it was after.
Oh, yeah,
At that
I was
time
about
I was
to say.
there. Yeah.
But that was a crazy experience. I'm like, man, why is me and Kobe getting into it like this with teammates and stuff like that? And even when I was on the team and me doing that, saying like, yo, you can't talk to me, like, it wasn't like in no, crazy way. Like, I'm like, dude, you Kobe. I want to learn everything from you, but like, bro, like, I can understand from his point of view because you know I've had the opportunity to be the franchise leader of a team, and I feel like he probably was just trying to like set a standard or kind of keep a certain way, but he probably didn't know how to communicate. You know what I'm saying?
I know you said you looked up to Jordan.
Yeah.
So Jordan's, you know, both of them had Tim Grover, their trainer, talks about how Kobe and Jordan would talk to them about how they talk to their teammates. And they were used to, like, son, I know you said something like, yo, I'm not Pau Gasol. Pau Gasol might have been motivated by that type of language.
By how he talked to
He had to get fired up. But for you, I know a lot of your teammates said you didn't need to get fired up.
By somebody going
Gilbert
off.
said that Stan Van Gundy actually had to learn to stop yelling with you. That didn't motivate you. So everyone has different, you know. I'm kind of like you.
Yeah.
But see, it's crazy because that's how hard it is to be a leader.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Especially in a professional sport when you got grown men who may be even older than you.
Yeah.
How are you going to get out there on the court and tell them to do anything? Like, man, I'm a grown-ass man. I ain't got to listen to you. You know, so I had to deal with that a lot in Orlando coming up because I'm playing with the Grant Hill, Stacey Yodman, you know, Steve Francis, Coutinho. These guys they're much older than me, but they're putting me in a position of leadership. So I learned so much over the years. And when I got a chance to play with Kobe, I'm like, man, I'm finna soak all this in. Like, I'm gonna learn everything. How he make the fadeaways like that? Like, how he had the composure to shoot at the end of the game. Like, I had the composure to go dunk on somebody at the end of the game, but to go do a fadeaway with 3 people on you, that take a lot of, like, confidence with the game on the line and all that stuff, because I might be like, you know what I'm saying?
For sure.
But he's like, it's like this, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, every day, like, I want to learn. I want to watch this because also in my mind, I'm like, man, he done played a long time. He probably on his way out. The Lakers are probably bringing me in to be that next person, so let me watch and learn from him. Yeah. But once we had that little, like, you know, I was like, yo, ain't no bitch like Pau Gasol. Yeah. And now I'm looking back on it like Pau, that's what Pau needed from Kobe. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So Kobe could talk to him that way and cuss him out and say that. That's going to make Pau get mad. Yeah. But I was a player like, we ain't had to do that. You just, hey, White, you got to get over the pick and roll, dog. Yeah. You fucking us up.
For sure.
Then I'm going to be like, all right,
bet.
You know what I'm saying? I got you. But the other way, it's making me be like, yo, dude, like, you know I got kids out here in the stands. You know what I'm saying? My kids ain't going to be like, hey, Dad, you know. So for
I know Nick Young was telling the story. Like, he said, like, that year, he said he would go at Kobe in practice. And he said Kobe was on one leg, man. He said, so I was talking shit to him all practice. We wasn't winning anyway. But you know that famous clip when Kobe's, like, talking or he told you to try that shot again or something that. Like, how'd you feel in that moment?
Yeah, I mean, I think I totally agree. It's like everybody has a different form of communication, and I'm the player. I actually do better when I'm yelled at, because I grew up with coaches who always yelled at me. So I actually, whenever I got yelled at, I played better. But it's nuanced. If you yelled at me and you're like, yo, what are you doing? Get your head out your ass. Like, lock in so we can win this game. Yeah. Like, it's like, you believe that if I lock in, we're going to win this game because you believe in who I am. Right? But if you're just talking down to me, yelling at me, talking down to me, like, yo, you, like, it's like you have zero respect for me or whatever. Level. That hits me differently where it feels like, it's not like, yo, I believe in you and you're letting us down. Yo, wake the hell up. It's like, I can't stand you. Get out you know, and you know what I mean? Like, that type of energy was what kind of messed with me. Yeah. And I know, like, and I'm not disrespecting Kobe because I fully acknowledge that he's 1,000 times the player that I am. But what I am saying is, even within the context of being a leader, like, what me and you were saying to him was not, we're smarter than you, we're better than you, or whatever. It was more just like, in this specific situation, here's a little bit of feedback that I felt like you could have handled it differently. You're not perfect, right? Like, And so it comes with so much respect for who he is.
Yeah.
Did he have to respect me, like, with the magnitude and the level of player he was? No, not necessarily. He didn't, you know, I understand why he would look at me and be like, yo, like, he's just, he's not getting it done for us. So, you know, again, I don't hold it now to this day. I'm just kind of, I've let it go, and me and him patch it up. But that is a concept. And so similar to the story that you're talking about of Nick Young saying, like, when he was yelling at me, like, shoot it, I bet you won't shoot it. To me, it was like, all right, cool. And then I shot it. And I happened to miss, right? I'm not going to make all the shots, but I'm like, you're giving me the shot, I'm going to shoot it. I think it'd be different if he was like, yo, I dare you to shoot it. And I was like, oh, no, like, I'm like, great, I'll shoot it. So I shot it. Yeah. And it's like, well, it didn't happen to go in on that one, and that was the clip that was shown, yeah. And so to me, sometimes it's what makes a clip viral, or what the snapshot that you choose to portray, because there are other times in that scrimmage where he was talking trash, and then I did hit the shot, but that's not going to be out there, right? Did we lose that scrimmage? We did lose that scrimmage. Was it like something where it was disastrous? No, because that was every day for us. Every day was a scrimmage. Every day was talking trash. And some days you win, and some days you lose, and we all moved on, and it was fine. I do know Nick, or I heard Nick Young said that I went and cried after that, which really? I'm like, really? I'm like, Swaggy, I love you, but like, that's not true. Right after that happened, I went immediately, we huddled up. I went immediately to Coach Byron Scott, and I said, because Kobe was talking trash and we lost, and we're all kind of like, damn, I want to play. So I was like, Coach, let's go again. Let's get another one. Like, he's like, what? I was like, let's play again. Like, let's do one more scrimmage. He thought about it for a half second. He was like, no, we got a game tomorrow. And he was like, no, let's not do it. And I was like, all right, cool. And that was the end of the story. I'm like, I don't know where that's coming from. You know, I love Nick Young. I have a ton of respect for him. But I'm like, that did not happen. I can't imagine, like, can you imagine, like, that happening? It's like you're doing a scrimmage. We talk trash every day in practice, and then one time I'm just started like breaking down in tears. Like my teammates would never respect me. I would have been traded the next day if that was true. Like it'd be like, yo, get him out of here. So that didn't happen, but yeah, that was the clip that went out. That's what happened that day in practice.
But obviously, congrats on your retirement.
Yeah, man. I know we got
you playing the celebrity game today, right?
Playing in the celebrity game today. That's awesome, man, to be back playing in the NBA. Now coming back for All-Star Weekend, doing, you know, celebrity games and stuff like that. Speaking of celebrity games, they waiting on us to do a celebrity game in Taiwan.
That would be fun.
Charity game.
That would be charity game, yeah, game for charity. I think that'd be awesome.
Cause we never got the Jeremy Lin Dwight reunion, man. Y'all was supposed to play out there, man.
You know, so I think that'd be awesome, man. But we really appreciate you coming on the show.
No, I appreciate
Congratulations on retirement. I know how you feel, man. It's like the weight of the world is like going. You don't have to be on the defense all the time. Now it's like all about giving of yourself in a whole nother form.
Yeah.
And it's total opposite of what we had to do in our profession.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Did you see we brought Kawhi?
We brought Kawhi.
Yeah, I seen that.
Yeah.
But before I get off, I do want to say one thing, man. Just I want to give you your flowers. I appreciate you inviting me and playing with you. Everybody knows how great of a player you were, which the not top 75 is ridiculous, insane.
I learned how to let that go too.
Which I know. But I would say the thing I've learned from you, being being on the same team in the locker room, bus, traveling every day, was that I feel like when I seen you, you enjoyed your life, you enjoyed your career, you were fun loving, you had fun, and you wanted other people to have fun. And to me, it's like, if you're successful and you're really good at what you do, but you don't enjoy it, are you really successful? I don't know, right?
Yeah.
But to me, when I think about you, it's like you were an amazing player, but you smiled every day. You had fun every day, and your job was to try to, like, you came to the locker room with the energy of, like, how do I spread this to my teammates?
Yeah.
And I'll never forget for Christmas, y'all know if you remember.
I remember
you bought
everybody a gift.
Rolex and a different. You chose different watches and different things based off of what
they
color
like and what y'all like.
Bro, the time and attention and we're not even talking about just dropping tens of thousands of dollars on each individual gift, which is crazy generous, but the thoughtfulness and the detail, I actually took that with me where later in my career, when I was more of a vet, I learned that from you, and I started doing custom gifts for each teammate. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to at least say that, and give you your flowers in front of everybody, not just obviously the player we know you were, but the person that you were, and that impacted me, and that taught me a lot as a younger player. Like, dang, my vet teammate was really doing that. And and that challenged me to be a better person. So I appreciate you for doing that.
I appreciate that, man. Hey, you remember that, man.
Man,
oh,
I
man.
remember that.
Y'all have just finished watching the greatest podcast ever, Above the Rim with Dwight Howard, and we just had
with
the
Chris Tucker
greatest.
and
Yes, we got our movie coming soon.
Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker.
We got our remix coming soon. But thank you guys for joining the show. My partner to the left, 4L Move Real, and Jeremy Lin, the greatest to ever do it, all the way from Taiwan. Thank you for coming on the show.
Appreciate it, man.
Peace and blessings. And we'll see y'all next time.